So today I'm going to show you how to straighten a piece of wood using your table saw. Trees don't grow straight, so if you're using rough cut wood, chances are you have a big cup in it and you want to get that straightened out. If you got a piece of board that you want to use for your project and it's crooked, I'll show you how to straighten that out using the table saw. Hey, before we get started, let's talk about a little safety. Make sure you're wearing your safety glasses and earplugs if you have them. You only get one set of eyes, we don't want to ruin them, so safety glasses are important. Some cabinetry and mill shops might have a machine, what's called a straight line saw or a rip saw, that guarantee a straight glue surface for roughly about 13 feet. Those are equipped with lasers, so you can take both points of your wood before it cups and set your machine and run it through this conveyor, and it cuts that line pretty straight and pretty accurate. So straight line saws can become pretty expensive. They also take up a lot of room in your shop. So you can get the same effect by using a table saw with a few more processes to it, and I'll show you that next. So the first thing we do when we start a project, before we even plane the surface smooth, is we try to get this bow out as best as we can so we have nice straight lumber to work with. So using our table saw's rip fence, I want to touch this edge and this edge down here. The cup goes this way, and then the blade is going to cut along this surface. So the first thing I have to do is plot out how much of the wood I need to save and only take a little bit out of a piece of board at a time. This is how you do that. So the rip fence is going to stay straight, the saw blade's going to stay straight, and what we want to do is plot out how much of this board we need and how much we're going to have to take off to make it straight. So we first start out with both points touching and ripping off the hump side of this board little bits at a time. And as soon as we get this line here on the other side straight, we can flip the piece of wood and use that up against our rip fence and then cut our finished measurement what we need. So after you make the first couple initial passes, what you're doing, and you're bringing the rip fence in a little bit, you're taking a little bit out of the time, at a time out of this piece of wood. Sometimes you'll have to flip it end for end until you get a nice straight edge out of here. Okay, now that we made several passes, going one direction, flipping it, sawing off a little bit more each time, a little at a time, we flip the board this way and start taking some of that cup out. You can see where we started to where we're at now. Now, I could slide this through the saw a couple more times and get it a little closer, but at Hideaway Doors, we have another machine where we would stop from here, and it's called a joiner, and that would take the rest of this bow out. Let me show you that next. So once we get our wood project close on the table saw using the rip fence, we have another machine here at Hideaway Doors. This is called a joiner. What this effectively is a gigantic planer. It's upside down, and we take the edges. What this thing does is not only does it get the saw marks out from the table saw, it also helps to straighten the board even further. Okay, so what we essentially started out with was a 6 3/4 inch piece of wood, but it had that really bad curve in it. We used the table saw and the rip fence to get that more straight, and then we finished that off with a joiner and made a really nice and straight piece of wood. So we started out at 6 3/4, and we have a workable piece now at 5 3/8 inches. Well, that wraps up another episode of Behind Closed Doors. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like and share, and if you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. It helps us get our name out there and people see what we do. Thanks again.